Hello YouTube, this is Thomas Judge back once again, and this time round we are looking at a fresh Valiant Deluxe Edition hardcover. We are looking at Quantum and Woody Deluxe Edition number 1. This Deluxe Edition is quite a whale, or it was a whale. This is one of the very few times that Valiant actually reprinted a Deluxe Edition that had gone out of stock, bafflingly. This is the cover for the second printing of it, which is much less rare and may even still be available. The first printing looked like this. Now, this is the one that I have. I bought it a couple of years ago and so on. So let's just dive straight into it. We've got the standard cover. We've got an image there, which is from issue 2. Usual banner at the top, Deluxe Edition 1, side banner. The spine, Quantum and Woody, volume 1. There is a second volume, which we'll talk about next time. At the back, you've got the usual splash, a bit of a tag. World's Worst Superhero Team is actually the name of the first arc in here, but we'll talk about that more in a second. French flaps, usual blurb here. Oddly narrow. The text here is oddly narrow, which is kind of weird. Because you'd think they'd fill up more of the space, but clearly a bit of a design oddity. Also a really wide French flap when you think about it. This is like half the width of the book. That's odd. And similarly here, narrow text, really wide flap. I know it's an odd thing to mention, but worth mentioning. Let's see. Let's look at it raw. We've got a nice front with the foil embossing, if you can see. So it looks very silver there. It's not silver, it's like a really light turquoisey blue. I don't know how well that comes across. It's basically the same colour as one of the inside leaves, but except it's glossy foil. On the side, if you're keeping it raw on your shelf, this will look great. You've got the logo, you've got the normal stuff, you've got Deluxe Edition 1, and a clean back. End leaves, as said, are a light blue colour. So let's dive straight into what the contents are. This is book 1, and book 1 contains 3 arcs, which are available as 3 trade paperbacks. Let's zoom in. The first one is called World's Worst Superhero Team. 4 issues there. Kind of the origin story. The next one is called Insecurity, which is what the trade paperback is called, and that collects issues 5, 6, 7, 8, and then Goat number 0. I'm not sure if Goat number 0 is in the trade. If you do know, let me know in the comments below. And then the third arc is just called Crooked Past and Present Tense. So this is issues 9 to 12, and then we've got the standard gallery and stuff as well. We dive into it, you'll see here usual kind of format. It's got the covers and then you go straight into it. So what is Quantum and Woody? Quantum and Woody is a reboot as part of the 2012 Valiant Entertainment reboot of a set of characters in a series that was around in the 90s as part of the original Valiant era. And yeah, so this was one of the original kind of launch titles. This didn't come out straight away when Valiant relaunched in 2012. It came out very soon after, I think. This is a comedy comic. It's still a superhero comic, and it's still definitely part of the Valiant universe because we've seen Quantum and Woody in Archer and Armstrong, we've seen them referenced in Exo Manowar and things like that, but this is definitely the goofy, funny, quirky side of the universe. I'll be honest, I was quite wary going into this and reading this for the first time because I was like, comics that try to be funny generally suck. Comics that try to be funny and try to be satirical and try to make you laugh generally fall into this kind of stupid lampshading, heavy-handed satire, poorly thought out comic strip comedy, which I just don't enjoy. And I was really worried this was going to be a similar sort of thing. I've said before in previous videos I don't like things like Harley Quinn and goofy comics like that, or Deadpool goofy comics like that. And I was really worried this was going to be a similar sort of comic. The general conceit of it is you have Quantum, this dude, Eric, and you have Woody, this dude, Woody. And they're actually brothers. Yes, I'm aware. They look like this and they're brothers. They obviously reference that loads. Woody was actually adopted by Eric's father, and as a result, they're kind of step-brothers or step-siblings. Yes, they do play around a lot on the fact that one of them is white and one of them is black, and the perception thereof, and kind of, there's lots of things about that. Overall, I was, like I say, went into this really worried it was going to be this goofy, stupid comedy. And just painful. It's actually really good. This is actually really good. And I hate to say it, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I'm very surprised. It's actually really funny. There were 3 or 4 bits in this deluxe edition where I literally lolled. I laughed out loud. It was just great. The artwork is okay. The artwork is competent. I mean, you can see it here. It's very functional, and it's not especially high level. The covers are great, but the rest of the artwork is fine. But the writing is actually really good. There's a couple of moments where Woody here sort of veers into being a dick, and I've talked in previous videos about things like the problem with Harley Quinn, about how she's irresponsible and goofy and just a really terrible role model. That's why I don't like her. He kind of, at times, verges into that. It starts getting slightly annoying, but then they kind of pull away from it. And the entire time, Eric, his brother, plays the straight man. He plays the sort of the dead wood, which isn't comedic. And yet, at the same time, that just works so well, because the occasional one-liner, the occasional bit of comedy is just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Oh, hang on. I didn't show you the splash page for this. Hang on, let's see. Arc 5. Here we are, Insecurity and the Goat. There we are. These are the covers. Yeah, so I went into this worried. I was like, oh god, comics that try to be funny. It's a little bit like playing a game like Sunset Overdrive, or just just reading comics that try to be cool and edgy and fun and quirky and all very millennial and talking about texting and Instagram and using kind of modern memes and quotes and things like that. This doesn't do any of that. This is actually just funny because the 2 characters in it are funny characters and they're in funny situations. And there's a difference between someone saying something that's funny, which is what happens here quite a lot, but then someone saying something in a funny way. And this is very much both in a really good blend. It was, I'm not going to say hilarious, but it was exactly as advertised. It was a really funny, decent comic. It also fits into the wider Valiant universe. We talk about things like the 1%ers. There's references to things like Project Rising Spirit and things like that. So yeah, overall, gotta say, I enjoyed it. This is the 3rd arc, Crooked Pasts, present tense. 4 issues there. Overall, the first arc is their origin. It's how they get their superpowers. Basically, this isn't even a spoiler. They each have essentially like a scientific magic super bracelet type thing that gives them their powers, but they have to strike them together with like a clanging noise once every 24 hours, or else they're going to die, basically. So that's again another aspect of the comedy. You have these 2 characters who really are the odd couple brothers. Like, one's very stern, very serious. He's the black guy. One's the white guy who's goofy and uses drugs and he's a total wastrel. In that sense, it's an odd couple comedy in the same sense that Archer and Armstrong is an odd couple comedy, where you've got Armstrong being obviously the drunken philanderer and Archer being sort of the innocent waif. But it's a completely different dynamic, because here we have brothers and they're both the same age, and it's an interesting, fun dynamic. It takes the quirky funness of Archer and Armstrong and then dials it up to 10. Really enjoyed it. So really shocked at how much I enjoyed it. Even stupid things like this goat with superpowers actually works out really well and is really funny. The overall arc is very solid. And I just have to say I enjoyed it from start to finish. If you've been sitting on the fence about this, I have to say this is the deluxe edition worth picking up. It feels like you could probably read the entire Valiant universe without reading any Quantum Woody. This is very self-contained and, dare I say, it's slightly goofy. But it is fun, it is enjoyable, I did like it, I'm glad I have it as a deluxe edition. Now that it got reprinted and the out-of-print version isn't the only one you can get, then hopefully this is much, much more affordable. That's the end, and it ends with this, The Delinquents, which we'll talk about in just a second. This is the gallery. It's worth noting the gallery actually contains 7 one-page webcomics, which were used to promote the comic itself. Webcomics used to promote comics are normally terrible. These are actually quite funny. 1 or 2 of them are hilarious, and I do use the term hilarious. So, again, it's another thing this is well written. This is the cover of the original deluxe edition, as I just showed you, and then it's got other bits of standard artwork. The funeral of their father, which is kind of like what brought them together in issue 1. Decent artwork, decent pen sketches. Goofy, stupid, but enjoyable, I have to say. The writer for this, who is what's his name, James Asmus, is really, really good. I've only ever known him before from writing Thief of Thieves, which basically I didn't enjoy at all. I thought it was pretty poor, to be honest, pretty tedious. So I'm glad I hadn't realised that before I started reading this, but I went into this completely fresh eyes, and I have to say, this was good. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. So this thing I'm going to go back onto my shelf, at which point I'm going to pull out Quantum and Woody Volume 2. So Volume 2 actually collects some miniseries, starting off with the 4-issue miniseries, The Delinquents. So that's what we'll be checking out next time. If you're following along and doing this as part of your homework, that's what the next video is going to be, Quantum and Woody Deluxe Edition Volume 2. Oh, before I leap off, this character here is a police officer who's like a regular character throughout all the issues. This is the same police officer that is in the final issue of Dead Drop, which is a video I did a while ago with Exo Manowar, as like an Exo Manowar spin-off. It wasn't an Exo Manowar spin-off, as it turns out. I only had him on the cover. But I think I mentioned the last issue, there was this random police officer, and I was like, who the hell is this? She's from here. It's her. She's the random police officer. So there's a bit of connectivity there. Admittedly, it's connecting this, a decent comic, with that, which was a shit comic. But nonetheless, my point is, it all kind of links in together. So, yeah, with no further ado, thanks for watching. Catch you next time.
All right, thanks for watching, everybody. As always, please like, comment, subscribe. As always, please follow me on Twitter at I am Thomas Judge, where I will post a daily review of whatever comics I've been reading. You can get an idea of what I'm up to on the channel. And as always, please support the channel by heading over to Amazon.com and checking out my prose novel about superheroes. It's a completely original piece of work. The first episode in it is called Arrivals, and the series as a whole is called No Gods or Kings. You can find an excerpt of that on my website, nogodsorkings.com. Until next time, everybody, stay classy.